To turn your imagination into the reality, you need a canvas to visualize your dreams, and UPES-CSI believes in providing that canvas. UPES-CSI is a student chapter that provides a platform to create, share, and innovate. For the past 7 consecutive years, our student chapter have been adjudged as the best student chapter across the country. They have expertise in organizing events such as workshops, seminars, and hackathons to help students gain practical skills and knowledge in the field of computer science. We are excited to announce that Computer Society of India (UPES) is conducting Hackathon 7.0 in the campus. Learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. A very good evening to my fellow audience. I welcome you all to this online workshop on web development with Mr. Samarth Vohra sir. I am Anchit and I will be your host and facilitator for today's event. I'm honored to have all of you join us today for this interactive workshop where we will be discussing about the rudiments of developing a website. This workshop is designed to provide an opportunity to acquire new skills and knowledge. I would now like to introduce our guest speaker for today, Mr. Samarth Vohra sir, who is an instructor and product engineer at Coding Blocks. He's currently working as the president at International Society of Automation, ISA. He is a MERN developer, a competitive coder, and has a lot of work experience in web designing as well as coding sector. He is an autodidact, so we would be grateful to learn the skills from him. We are extremely obliged to have you here with us today, sir, to share your expertise. In this workshop, we will be discussing how to start the development journey as a college student, how to refer official documentations of development. This workshop will also focus on the most important topics for interviews to crack your placements, how to showcase your development projects, and as a fresher, what the companies expects from students in the development area. This will be followed by an elaborate introduction to web development. It will be an open discussion so that you can ask any career related questions. Before we get started, make sure you have a stable internet connection for a better experience of a workshop. Now, without further ado, let's start. I would hand over the proceedings to Mr. Samarth Vohra, sir. So,
Thank you so much, Anchit. That was really sweet. Uh, Great introduction. Hi everyone. I hope you guys are able to hear me. If is it so, then you guys can like type it in the comments right there. You guys must be able to do so, right? I just want an acknowledgement first that I'm audible and are we good to start this workshop? Okay. Hi Bharat. Great. Oh, see, I don't want just one or two people right there. I want most of you, those who are here, those who really want to learn something new regarding this field of development. I want everyone to be a part of it. मैं ये नहीं चाहता कि whatever I'll be saying और जो भी मैं convey कर रहा हूँ that should be within me or one or two people. जितने participants हैं, like everyone has to give their 100% in order to learn the best. Okay, so cool. Like I can see people there. Good, nice, very nice. Okay, right. So okay, let's start. What I'll do is the best way by which I introduce development is by like penning it down with the things so that you guys can also see and take a snap whenever needed. So I'll be sharing my screen first, and then we'll be starting from the very scratch. I'm assuming that all of you guys are here from I guess UPS college or from some other colleges or maybe the faculties or those who really want to learn dev, right? So my guidance will be from right scratch to the end point as a student or as a like upcoming fresher developer. So that will be the roadmap I'll be telling you in the starting initials. What challenges do you face in the interviews and what all things you should be practicing more and more while working or while delivering your interviews, right? That will I'll also be covering. And last but not the least, I'll be covering about how to deploy your projects and how to showcase them. What is the right strategy, right? So I'll not take much of the time and I'll start sharing the screen. Let me just do so. So, uh, can you just acknowledge me, like, if is it visible to every one of us? Right? Can you all acknowledge, please?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, so let me open my OneNote so that I can pen it down there. Just a second. Okay, so pretty good. I hope so you guys are able to see my OneNote screen, right? OneNote screen. I'm just writing web development right there. Just give me a yes if is it visible to everyone. Is it visible, Anchit?
Yes,
Right?
sir, it's visible.
Okay, so cool. Since I'm not able to see myself in the chats right now for the moment, so what I'll do is I'll keep on switching on the screens. I'll be explaining something and then I'll be looking forward for the questions, explaining something and looking for the questions, or maybe in between I'll be taking some acknowledgement as well. That is it understood? Is it practically possible for you guys, or are you guys having any sort of questions? Right. So we'll be making a one-on-one thing because I'm not able to see the other screen. Right. So cool. Uh, First of all, the first and the foremost challenge while learning development is what and from where to start. From what and where to start. What all things we have to cover, right? The most important aspect is what to do and from where to do, right? What and where. These two questions are the most asked and the most constant question that will be asked throughout the eternity, or I would say throughout the development, is right in front of us, right? So, starting with what to do, right? The roadmap for a full stack developer, right? The roadmap for a full stack developer has to be somewhat related to what I am telling. Somewhat related. By this, I mean that every person has a different journey, right? My journey is different, and someone who is working in my field, just as a colleague of mine or someone whom with I've worked with, has a different journey. But since I've been teaching since the last 3 years, and I know many of the students, those who have learned right from the beginning and like have achieved good positions in different fan companies and all. So the best roadmap, according to me, till date, is what I'm sharing with you guys. Right. So to start with the very basic, I'm assuming it is for the beginner, right? I'm not considering anyone having even a single point of uh, prerequisite, right? Nobody's having any prerequisite. I'm just telling the roadmap from the very scratch. The first and the foremost important thing is to study HTML, right? This is basically a markup thing for your website. What is a markup? This is basically just a structure to your website. That's a structure, right? After covering HTML, this is a very small and very important thing, right? This is the base of your web development, right? Very important, but very easy. Like it is like a 2 or 3 days work. That won't take more than 3 days, but yeah, it is pretty important. Moving on, after HTML, one should definitely pursue for CSS. Now, what is this CSS? This is basically the styling part of your website. This is basically the styling part of your website. What do you mean by styling? So whenever you hover or you just surf through the internet and you watch any of the website or any of the web application for that matter, what encounters right in front of you is a very pretty and a very with very sweet colors and with the catchy colors, right, that comes in front of you, the catchy animations, the pretty designs, all these are achieved using this CSS. So the styling part, I'm considering everything as a styling part, that will be covered with CSS. So the second step for the roadmap is to do CSS. Now every task has its easier way to do, right? So nobody of us wants to like these days chat gpt is something which makes our work easy. Like most of us are like enjoying our life because you just simply write a simple statement and you get the answers somewhat related to what you expected, right? So every task has to be minimalized, or the time needs to be saved, right? So we have some frameworks for CSS. What do I mean by frameworks? Frameworks are this thing which makes your task easy while doing this CSS work, right? Just few less statements doing the same along same work and along the same journey throughout this entire CSS game, CSS topic, right? So what all frameworks are there, right? We have different options. I'm just jotting two or three. You can do depending on your choice, and I'll be just suggesting you few as well. Right. One is Bootstrap. One is Bootstrap. This is most widely used. This is most widely used. Right. Bootstrap. Again, Tailwind is also one of the framework which is very popular, and people are starting loving it. Like it is also like uh, followed in many of the, I would say, products and many of the applications. But according to me, Bootstrap is on a bit more edge, so I prefer start learning with Bootstrap. It is pretty easy as well, and we have Balma as well, right? Balma, that is also a framework for CSS, right? So I'm just jotting down few frameworks. That is a framework for CSS, right? Okay. So heck ends the journey of CSS. Now after CSS, the most important stuff to learn is JavaScript. What is JS? JS stands for JavaScript. Now, I can assure you one thing. If a person knows JavaScript to the fullest, right? If someone says do a programming languages helps you in getting a good companies cracking fangs and all, right? What is JS? JS is a programming language, right? JS is a programming language that is phenomenal. You can do huge amount of things with JS. That is, you can create your applications, you can do the interactivity. What how does JS helps, right? So if I simply give you a small introduction. Oh, let me do one thing. My screen is sharing, right? I'll just simply browse something for you guys, right? What I'm doing is I'm simply going to, let's say, Airbnb application, any random application, just for the moment. Airbnb application. I can see an application right in front of me, right? I found some of the properties there, and I thought the second property, the second image, which is in Lonavala or any other state, that is hardly my concern. I want to like look for more images there, or I would say I want to keep this aside from all the images which I'm able to see right now, right? So what I can do, I can give it a heart, I can make it a like, right? I can make it a like, or whatever the wish list options I want to make it there, right? So I can do all these things. I can see the next images, right? What I'll do, I'll click on the next image. So it opened me a new page. It showed me some images. How am I able to do all these things? How am I able to just click on one image and able to see all the stuff which are right there? Let's say, and let me give you one more example for that. Um, let's say I want to book this. It is showing me some price. That is hardly my concern for now. If I want to reserve this for, let's say, for my upcoming vacation, staycation, anything, I'm simply clicking on this button. And what is actually behind the scenes, I don't know. But who is handling this? JavaScript. Who is handling this? JavaScript. So yeah, JavaScript is, let's say, the heart of development. I say that this is the most important aspect for someone who has started his or her journey as a part of developer. So this is the most important part where you should keep most of your interest and you should invest most of your time, right? I make it 3 stars because this is pretty important. So there are many more concepts in JavaScript. So it's not a very small thing. Since I just told you it's a programming language, so there will be huge depth in it. So I'm not going into the deeper topics. I'm just skimming it out. What should be the right roadmap, right? So covering JS is, I would say, matter of 20 days if you guys are consistent enough. 20 to, let's say, 25 days, or let's say a month. Let's say a month. So this this amount of time with hard dedication should be given to JS, because this will definitely help you out in all your interviews always. We'll come on it. We'll come on the interview part, but just as a eye opener, JavaScript is, let's say, the heart of development, right? So as I just told you, that for CSS we have some frameworks. Why? Because they make our work easy. They simply shorten up our code. They simply help us to do difficult functionalities in a bit more easier way. So similarly, we have few libraries, or let's say few frameworks for JavaScript. Right now, I'll be mentioning few of the very famous libraries, which as a beginner you should start with. Like for this session, just for understanding, frameworks and libraries are different, but you can keep them in the mentality as the same thing. If I go deep, then yeah, framework is a different thing, library is a different thing. But if I just take a step back and see it from a like a wider vision, from a wider way, then they both do the same thing, right? So The libraries which you should follow and you should see for JS should be jQuery. It is really easy. It is the same as that of JavaScript only. So the most easiest library which you should learn for JS, or you should start JS after completing JS, is jQuery. And the most famous and the most demanded is this React. Again, I'm putting it 3 stars because this standalone thing is, capable of providing a job more than 15 LPA. Like, this is the average package, I would say, as a developer. uh, yeah, this is really, I would say, the average package only. This is not a very hi-fi number. This package number can easily vary from 45, 55 LPAs, right? This number do vary, not by learning a single thing, but yeah, eventually the entire development. But yes, React is single-handedly, standalonely, is capable of providing a job. So just like JavaScript, the amount of time you are providing there, the amount of energy you want to show it, you want to showcase from your side, and you simply want to learn, the same amount of energy I suggest you should give to React as well, right? You should give to React as well. I'm stopping for a moment just to see the queries and questions from you guys. So I'll be just simply sharing the screen, right? The screen where my chat is visible, right? Just a moment. Okay, so anybody wants to ask anything till now, I'm just stopping for a minute so that I can have a conversation with you and see all the chat box and all the comments up there. Okay, anybody having any sort of questions, or are we pretty sorted and clear till now? Are we sorted? Are we cool? Are we cool? Give me a yes if you are cool with it, if you are able to understand the all clear, sir. Pretty good, pretty good. What about others? What about others? Okay, great. Yes, sir. Clear, sir. Great. Anybody having any question? I'll be waiting for a few more seconds and then I'll be sorted. Okay, sorted. Cool. Okay, I'm finding that most of you are comfortable till now, so I'll be heading forward. Right. If you feel anything you want to ask or anything you want to share from your side, so I'm open for it. I'll be like, uh,
Excuse me, sir. I'm
yeah,
really
sure.
sorry to interrupt, but there is one query, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, I'll definitely be sharing all the resources. I'm just penning it down one by one, and I'll be sharing the resources of each and everything that will help you out throughout your roadmap as well. Right? Don't worry, Shreya. Just give me 5 minutes. I'll be definitely sharing with you the best official resources, not just the resource which is, let's say, not so satisfactory. That will be more than sufficient, and nothing can beat it. Right? Trust me. Like, let's wait for 2 3 more minutes. I'll be just covering my roadmap, and then I'll be sharing. Cool. Okay, thank you. Okay, so after learning JavaScript, right, some very important concepts come into the picture. Like, of course, they are dependent on JS, and the functionality of JS is there. So, the very important thing comes to our mind or comes to the picture is Ajax and APIs, right? This is something which is very practical, or let's say, which is very used oftenly in applications, right? If you're working with any of the big wig, or let's say any of the FANG companies, right? Some way or the other, they must be using some technologies which must be having Ajax and APIs, or usage of APIs in it, right? So this is also a very important topic to study, and this is also very important for interview point of view, right? I'm writing interview in front of those topics which are very oftenly asked, and by which you can easily crack your interviews, right? I'm just penning it down for the moment so that just in case you want to skip. So that'll help you out, right? That'll definitely help you out, right? Okay. So Ajax and API should also be given a good amount of time. Let's say not months, or let's say 5 or 4 weeks, but I guess 2 weeks for this topic is more than sufficient to understand what is the behind the scenes that are being going on, and how to actually work on a product, how the things are logically happening, how the client is happening, and how the server is taking care of both the request and response, how the data is being sent, in which form the data is being stored, right? So all these things can easily be understood using these two, or by learning these two topics. So yeah, we should keep in mind about them. Okay, let's say after that, uh, okay, I'm assuming if someone has, as a beginner, has done this, his or her full stack 50% of the full stack, that is the front end part, is almost sorted, right? But yeah, these days the companies are also, want some innovative things. Companies want some, let's say, people, those who are very creative as well, right? So Canvas is also one of the upcoming things which a person should know. I won't say they'll definitely help you out with a, like, they are as important as JavaScript. No, they're not as important as JavaScript, but yeah, these are something which you should know in order to, let's say you want to go for a freelance, let's say you want to go for a freelance, or you want to go for your own startups, right? So in that case, this might help you out. This might help you out. So this is also something which people are facing challenges these days. So yeah, you should also keep in mind while going through the journey. Have some taste of Canvas as well, right? Let's say this will help you out for making some gaming applications, or let's say some uh, portfolio things, right? Gaming applications, and let's say some portfolio stuff, right? This is definitely very helpful in all these aspects, right? Where something creative, there's something, let's say, uh, gaming sort of thing, right? Somewhat towards the gaming sector, right? Not exactly gaming, not the behind the scenes, but the look and feel of gaming, right? So if someone has done this part, so I would say the front end part of that person is complete, right? To start a journey, the front end part of a person is good to start with. It's pretty sorted to start with, right? So after this comes into the picture the backend part, right? The first and the foremost important thing is to create servers. To create servers, right? So how will be creating servers? We'll be creating servers using Express. Like these days, you must have heard about the merge stack, right? Let's go to the basic first, then I'll be explaining this. You must have heard about the merge stack, MERN, where M stands for MongoDB, right? M stands for MongoDB, where E stands for Express, R stands for React, and N stands for Node, right? N stands for Node. Here, the E, which I have mentioned, Express, is responsible for making Express servers. And what is a server? Everyone, okay, let me just give you a small taste. Let's say what you do, you open up a Facebook page. Let me just show you that. Let me just show you. Hold on. Mm, let me just open a Facebook page, right? Facebook login. No worries. Facebook login. So what am I able to see right now is some fields. It is asking me to fill up my name. It is asking me to fill up my surname, my email, and some more stuff, some more information. It is asking me to fill it up. Now, what will happen if I ask you, if I click on the sign up button? If I click on the sign up button, then all the information of mine will be sent to the server of Facebook, will be sent to Facebook. If you guys are not aware of server, it will be sent to Facebook so that Facebook can keep our information. And for the future's purpose, if I want to log in, if I want to, if I want to surf through Facebook, what will I do? I'll type up my email and my credential, let's say my password. Now that my email and password, which I have written, that will be checked from the Facebook's email password, that is it matching? Is my password matching with my Facebook's password, which is being stored towards the Facebook server, or let's say database anywhere. So if it match, then only I'm able to open up Facebook. Else I'll be shown with some, let's say, invalid password with invalid emails, or let's say I won't be able to see my Facebook page, right? So who is responsible for this? What is the reason this is happening? This is happening because of server. The interaction, the logics are something else, right? Of course the logics are something else. Logics are written in, let's say, Java, and let's say JavaScript, right? Logics are written in that language, but what is the, let's say, communication way, what who is being communicated through, right? So the server helps in that stuff. So Express server, so one should learn Express. So the part to learn is Express, and with Express we make server. With Express we make servers. We can make servers without Express as well, but this is, let's say, a part of our stack. So this is very upcoming, so people do, like, give more priority if someone already knows about Express, and someone already, it's very easy to learn. It's the most easiest server to learn. But yeah, it is like, takes less amount of time to work on with, so of course it saves your time and your extra amount of work, right? So yeah, Express is also one should keep as a part of journey. After that, Of course, Node. Uh, thing which I've mentioned here, the part N out of one is Node. Now, what is Node? Node is nothing. It is just an environment. What is it? It is just an environment where you can run, where you can run, or let's say work with. Run means basically work with your JavaScript. That is it. Uh, this might look, let's say, a very small statement and a very easy to understand statement, but the moment you will be finishing up with JavaScript, you'll get to know the powers, you'll get to know the advantages, leverages that our JavaScript provides us, right? So that is why this Node.js or Node, whatever you want to say, is a very important aspect. You must have heard upon uh, Maven stack, Maven stack, or let's say mean stack. Everywhere this node is present. This node, this node, this node. So this node part is very, very important, and this is, let's say, very easy way for us to work on with our development stuff, right? So in all the stacks, this node is there, this Mongo is there. What is this Mongo? I'll be just coming on it. Express, you guys already know, something which is used for making servers, right? So after servers, like after making or using Express and all this application that Express provides us, one should go with Node, right? Node has lot of, let's say, libraries and lots of things to provide with us. Lots of applications are there. Lots of, like, Node.js will help you out for all the things. All the things I can show. You can make games with it. You can, like, let's say, mix databases with it. You can make your terminal as well with it, right? So Node like opens up all the varieties, opens up all the fields, right? So the basic Node, the taste of Node should be there with you, so that you can at least work with development applications, right? For development of applications, right? So one should work with Node as well. Now here, if you see, one more common thing is there. This M is very common. This M is very common in the stack, right? This M is very common. What is this M? Now, what this M stands for? This M stands for your MongoDB. This M stands for your MongoDB. And what is MongoDB? This is a database. This is a database. What is a database? Those who don't know what is a database, I'll just try to summarize it in a moment, right? So let's say you every one of you use a phone, right? So it is practically impossible to learn all the numbers of your friends and their families and your relatives at the same time. You are able to learn two, three, or at max 10 mobile numbers, or maybe some more numbers, but not same as that of the numbers which are being stored in a mobile. That is a harsh reality, but that is practically, let's say, true as well, right? So all the things, all the data which we want to keep safe with us, which we want to make use of in some coming future or might be helpful for us, they are stored inside this databases. They are stored inside this databases. It contains data. The name itself shows it contains data, right? So the easiest database and the and like, let's say, the one which is being very demanded these days is MongoDB. This is a non-relational database. This is a non-relational database. I won't go into relational, non-relational right now. Just defining you there. It is a non-relational database, and if you want to work with a relational database, then of course MySQL is the one. Everybody knows about it, right? So it is a relational database. Not going into non-relational and relational. So those who know, they'll understand. Else you have to do some R&D of your own. So these two are the databases which we should at least, I'm saying at least, it's not at max. It's at least you should work on with. You should know how to work with your MongoDB database, your MySQL database, and so on. Right. After that, the one very important thing is you must have heard about, uh, let's say, the person who is able to sign up to your application is, let's say what you do is you open up Instagram, right? Once you have just used your password, and after that you are just able to see all your applications, see all your friends posting stuff, your own profile, and different functionalities which Instagrams provide. It does not always ask you for the password. It does not always ask you for the password, right? So similar way, we have something known as authentication, right? Authentication is very important. Authentication, and some part of it I'm also writing inside. Session is very important. Learn about session. What is a session? Session is basically, I have entered my ID and password, and for next 24 hours, that window that password is valid for me, the application will consider me as an authenticated user, and that application will let me do anything with my ID, right? So that is something which I can make you guys relate with is session authentication. Of course, is it a valid user or not, and right, session handling, along with that some cookie stuff, right? The uh, sessions and cookies are almost like, let's say, siblings to each other. They parallelly work hand in hand, right? So this one should definitely have a taste while working with the backend part, right? And after that, I would definitely want to focus on socket. What is socket? Socket.io. What is socket? Socket is basically every one of us makes use of WhatsApp, right? How this happens, how the things happen, it happens in real time, right? It happens in real time. We are having a conversation right now, right? We are having a conversation. I'm saying something, you guys are able to hear it within few seconds, within few fraction of seconds, right? This is a real time communication, right? So sockets help you with real time communication. So let's say you pinged your friend, hi, how are you? Let's join a workshop on web development. He said, okay, I'm just coming in 5 minutes, or let's say I'll be coming in next 10 minutes. I'm a bit busy right now. Anything. All these are real time communication, right? So what helps you with it? Socket.io helps you with this chatting stuff, or I would say in a very layman language, this chatting stuff, right? Okay. So working on this, then okay, let's say you learn these technologies, you learn the front end part, you learn majorly of the back end part. Now what? Now you should go for projects. Now you should go for full stack projects. What do I mean by full stack projects? The projects which consist of front end as well as back end integrated with each other. Integrated with each other. That is, if I'm sending some request, if I'm asking for some, let's say, data calls, some API calls, then my server should also be there. That will be helping me out with the data by, let's say, by all the above, um, let's say, topics, or let's say all the above things which I've told you, right? So you should work on projects. Let's say if you are able to work with, let's say, 2 or 3 projects of your own, right, then I can say that yes, you are industry ready, or you're, I would say, you are ready to enter the industry, right? So after this project part, you will be ready for entering into, let's say, a development domain, or let's say some freelance of your own, to a startup of your own. That depends, that vary from, of course, personal choice to personal choice. That, of course, you will be the best judge to decide, right? So work on this projects. Okay, so you worked on this project, very good. You are able to see everything right in front of you. You just you're able to log in, you're able to sign up, you're able to see your Facebook, see your Instagram, see your e-commerce website, anything. But it is just you. Nobody else except you is able to see that website out of your laptop, right? Practically true. Nobody except you or your friends, those who are right in next to you. Nobody knows about your application. Nobody knows about your project, and nobody is working with the project. Then how you can showcase your projects? That is by using deployment. That is by simply deploying your project. So this is very important, right? Deploying is very important, and I'm just helping you out with 1 or 2 resources where you can, let's say, deploy your projects, right? So AWS, you must have heard of AWS, right? It's a cloud-based service, right? AWS help you out with the deployment of your projects which you have made. Now, what happens is, you have completed your project. Your project is now deployed on AWS. Now it provides you a link, right? What it does, it provides you a link. This link, or let's say this URL, you will be sending to your friends, your families, your relatives, or any concerned person for that matter. Any concerned person for that matter. By just simply opening up that link or URL, that person will now be able to see your application, that what you have made, what all functionalities are there, what all things you have covered. Let's say you're sitting in an interview, right? What is happening? You're sitting in an interview. During that interview, how will the interview will get to know about how good your application is, how better you have made it? Will he be cloning your GitHub repo? No, he'll not be cloning it. He just wants, give me a link. I'll be like, I want to see your work. I want to see your application. What all functionalities are there? So what you will do, you'll simply provide the link inside your resume, or let's say if he explicitly asks you to give it to him, so him or her, so you can simply give him the link. Then he'll be on the spot serving your website, and he'll be like praising you or telling you about few more functionalities you can add or a better way to do it, or he may ask questions on it, right? So for this interview part, right, deployment is also important. And this is very important for those who really want to work with freelance, right? Those who really want to work on freelance, for that matter, deployment is most important stuff, right? So I give it a bit more preference key. You should definitely deploy your projects, because the more you outshow your skills, the more good amount of people, the more better community people you meet, and it enhances your skill, it enhances your working power, that yes, someone is there who knows about this stuff, right? So all the things which I've covered here are part of your backend. Let me just scroll a bit more down. Are part of your backend, right? Okay. Along with that, one or two extra things is one should definitely learn about version control system. Version control system. And okay, so we have Git and GitHub for it, right? We have Git and GitHub. Don't confuse yourself with this big statement, version control system. One should learn Git and GitHub in order to work on with, let's say, different people. If you have one project and five people are allowed to do that project, so how will you be parallelly doing it with all the changes being committed and all the things being shown to everyone, right? So Git and GitHub are basically helping you out right there. So this should also be a good concern for you guys. You should be having some amount of knowledge, no, not some, should be having a good amount of knowledge with this these technologies, right? With these technologies. Uh, by completing this, I have told you the roadmap. I'm just scrolling it down from top to bottom. Then I'll be seeing the questions, and then I'll be telling you the resources, right? So this is the roadmap. Again, I'm just repeating it, starting from HTML, moving on to CSS, doing some frameworks of CSS, right? And moving on to JavaScript, very important thing, JavaScript, doing some libraries, and inside the library, that React is very important. Then moving on to Ajax and API stuff, then working on with your canvas, then this ends your front end. Now if we start with the back end, for making service, express will help you out. Then moving on to node.js, it is a runtime environment. It is just a place, a workaround where you can play with your codes, right? And after node.js, you learn the database. You can even start with any one of them, but I preferably ask people to at least have a taste of both, have a taste of relational as well as non-relational as well, right, at the same time. So I'll prefer if you go with both, but doing any one of them will also solve your work, no worries. Knowing about the functionalities, authentication, session, cookies, and all these stuff, how to work with them. Again, then for this chatting, for the real-time communication, you should know socket. And after all the, or let's say all the concepts which you have learned before, right, make big projects. These are big projects. These are not small projects. These are very big projects. This may consume your 15 days, 20 days, even month, or even more than that, right? These are big projects. So start making it, start doing it, and after the projects are done, you are complete with the mentality that okay, all these functionalities which I wanted are there. Then you can simply deploy them in either AWS or some free versions, right? Right after that, not after that. In between, someday in between, you can also learn with Git and GitHub. This should not be done in the end. Should not be done in the end. It should be done in between, let's say front end and back end, or anywhere before deployment. Anywhere before deployment, right? So that'll help you out. Okay, so I guess I'm clear with it. I'm now moving on to the questions, right? Okay, wait, I just see. I'm just telling you the sources, no worries. Anybody having any sort of questions for this roadmap? Just the questions for the roadmap. I'll be switching now. Questions for the roadmap. I'll be preferring you guys if you can just take the snaps. I don't know the video will be available or not after the session. So simply take the snaps, right? Any questions for the roadmap? I'll be telling you the resources. Don't worry. I'm just sharing the resources one by one. I'll be showing you right here.
Guys, you're
Any
free to ask anything that pops up on your mind. Please feel free to ask anything.
I'll be just waiting. Oh, all clear, great. Waiting for 1 minute, then I'll be switching to the resources. If like nobody is having any sort of doubts here. Okay, give me a thumbs up if no, sir, all clear. Great, great. Give me a thumbs up, like okay, say yes or let's say clear, anything, so that I can see. Yeah, the people are like not sleeping in the webinar; they are still awake. Cool. Okay, all clear, all clear. No, sir, all clear. Great. So what I'll be doing is I'll be starting sharing clear. Okay, I'll be starting sharing with the resources, right? Starting from the very scratch. For this HTML, for this CSS, and for this JavaScript, right? This HTML, how to, let's say, one, two, three, right? I have, let's say, the Bible for this, that is called MDN or W3 schools. See, this I'm right typing it with triple tick, and this I'm typing with double tick, right? W3 schools. I'll show you, right? Why triple tick? In order to explain you in a very, let's say, layman thing, this is a foreign author book for some subject, and this is an Indian author book. So foreign author books have all the, let's say, definitions, all the languages, or all the experiments that are there, and all the provided stuff, right? This is a foreign author book, and this is an Indian author book. Not not compare making a comparison, but just a general scenario which we generally follow with whenever we were in, I guess, JE. So we all have done those foreign author books as well as some Indian author books, right? So just giving you a trying to give you a taste with that scenario, right? So MDN, what is MDN? I'm simply going on my browser. I'm simply searching MDN. MDN stands for Mozilla Developer Network. If you can see my pointer, this is Mozilla Developer Network. I'll simply click on the stuff. So this is the ultimate resource of your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You can see documenting web technologies including CSS, HTML, and JavaScript since 2005, right? So most of you were born near about this year, but okay, so it is working since then, right? HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Let's say how to work on this, and how to, let's say, see the functionalities, right? I can do one thing. I'm simply going on my search bar. Let's say I want to see for tables. So if there's something in HTML, right? I want to work with tables, HTML tables. I can type anything, right? So now I'm able to see HTML tables. What is to know about HTML tables? They have given it some, let's say, a very brief summary there, a very brief summary. Okay. If I go down, it is telling me the prerequisites as well. What should I know? And a bit more scroll down, bit more scroll down, bit more scroll down. It is giving me different and different, let's say, guides and all. Like if I click on HTML table basics, right? What I need to know is it is telling me what a table is, how we represent a table, and all stuff. It is giving me some examples, right? It is giving me some examples and all and all. Like I can read it now. I can see some tags right in front of me. I can see how I can add the data in the table, and so on. How can I add a row in the table? You guys won't be able to understand what I'm saying, but I'm just giving you a taste how to read a documentation, right? So how to add a row, and how to add data, right? All this stuff, and what will be the outcome of the above code. It is showing all these things, right? See, in this example, you'll be able to understand. This is a table, creating rows in the table, creating data, and so on and so on. If you want to see something regarding CSS, then let's say you want to work with, let's say, Flex. Like Flex is very let's say, very important stuff, right? So if I want to learn about Flex and CSS, so it is showing me that, okay, if I click on this, the value of Flex is 2. How will it be represented? The output is shown right in front of you. If I click on this third option, then how will it be shown? Some demos are there, and to know about, let's say, I want to know about Flex Grow in this Flex part, right? Flex is having some, let's say, subjects as well, sub parts as well. So Flex Grow is there, Flex Shrink is there, Flex Spaces is there, and so on. Some values, key value pairs are there. So it'll help you out that, okay, if you do this thing, these are the outcomes. If you do this thing, these are the outcomes. Or try this stuff and see what the outcomes, like what is shown over your output window, right? So all these are some hyperlinks. They'll redirect you or enter you to some important stuff. And let's say if I want to go on FlexGrow, it'll take me to FlexGrow, that what FlexGrow is and how will I work on it, right? So it is a very pretty and very easy documentation. I won't say it is very difficult. As a developer, you should know how to Google, and it is, let's say, the most easiest thing which a person can carry with, right? So what I'm doing is I'm simply copying the link, and I don't know how can I share it. Can I share the links with you guys? Can I share the links? Is it possible to share the links, or what should I do in order to make them aware of it?
So right now on StreamYard, there's no such option to share your link.
Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just show the screen right again. So this is MDN, that is Mozilla Developer Network. You can simply Google. Everybody is, I guess, smart enough to Google these days, right? Okay, so for this we are done. Ajax and APIs, these can, there's no as such documentation for them, but yeah, you can definitely Google it out. You can go for Stack Overflow. You can work with, let's say, direct Googling of the stuff, how this Ajax works, how API works, right? So that will be done. Okay, so this jQuery and this React, right? This jQuery and this React, I'm showing you there. Uh, for this jQuery, what I'll do, I'll simply write jQuery, and I have an official documentation named as jQuery.com, right? jQuery.com. So if I click on it, let me just see. This is the, let's say, official documentation. If I want to read the documentation, I click on this API doc. You can see my mouse, I guess, right? API docs. I click on it and so on. I'll keep on seeing these are the properties, these are the methods which are used, right? And it'll be telling you about how the methods are working and what all the things are doing here. This is the index on the left, and so on and so on. You can read on the documentations of jQuery. This is the official documentation. I'm telling you the official documentation which is being followed, right? This is not something which is, let's say, followed by 5 or 7 or 3,000 people. No, it is worldwidely followed, right? So make sure about jQuery. This is for jQuery, right? And after that, I'm showing you for React. For React, it is reactjs.org, of course, reactjs.org. And if I want to go with the docs, right, either I can get with getting started, or I can obviously click on any of the docs part here, right? Docs, and just keep on saying, okay, how to add React to your website. It is showing me the ways. If I click on it, it'll redirect me. Okay, just read it up, give it a minute, and simply make it happen, right? So CDN links, what are CDN links? That you'll get to know once you will enter into development. I guess something happened. Okay, now I guess it is fine. Okay. So these are the CDN links and main concepts, and what is introduction to JSX, what is component, what is state lifecycle, and all, right? These are the subtopics in React. Don't worry. But the best part is React is very, very easy to understand if you follow this official documentation rather than following any person or anyone for that matter. So it starts from the very beginning and it gives you all the understanding from scratch till the depth, right? So reactjs.org is one of the very good resource. Like, it is the only good resource, I feel, right? It is the only good resource. So I guess this 4 and 5 is also done. This 4 and 5 is also done at the same time, right? Okay, Ajax and APIs, I told you. Canvas is also like this, so you can simply, let's say, I guess MDN will help us with the canvas, right? MDN will help us with the canvas. If I go over canvas, yeah, this is basically a tag and some functionality that consists. So for learning canvas, HTML, or that's a MDN documentation will help you out, right? For canvas as well, we'll go for MDN, right? Now for this Express and for this Node.js, right? Let's say I'll just change the color for, let's say, this Express, and for this Node.js, what I'll do, I'll go for official documentation again. I'll simply type express.js, expressjs.com. If I simply press the enter, it shows me the official documentation of what, of my Express, right? So in order to, let's say, getting started, so you'll simply be able to see in my nav bar that is just next to my home button. I click getting started and this will tell me how to install this. Don't be scared of these terminologies. These are just simple commands which you have to run once you'll be working on with stuff, right? These are just simple commands. So and so on, how to do it, and let's say how to, let's say, do the routing, how to use middleware, how to debug, how to handle an error, database integration and everything. Advanced topic, right? Let's say where's security? Okay, the security updates, the best practice for security, everything. Like, you can go for each and every resource. But middlewares, of course, middlewares, right? All the middlewares are right. Malab, if you don't know about middlewares, but these are important thing, right? So the cores, right? Sometimes you feel the cores are there. The cores is not labeled. What is core? So you'll be able to understand using this middleware while working on Express, right? So the official documentation, of course, expressjs.com, expressjs.com, right? And after that, the documentation of Node, of course, it is official documentation of nodejs.com, .org, really sorry, .org, right? So here you can, let's say, go with the docs, and you can work with, let's say, if I want to work with 16th version of my node, right? 16th version, then how will I be using hooks, async hooks? How will I be working with the buffer? How will I be working with, let's say, what is the important part here? With my domain name systems, with my file systems, with my HTTP request, and so on and so on and so on. Right? So Node.js provides you with huge amount of flexibilities. REPL, read, evaluate, print, loop. This is what REPL stands for, right? The URLs, everybody knows about URLs, right? So this Node.js provides you with a huge amount of flexibility and huge amount of work, right? So official documentation is nodejs.org, and what all things are left? Okay, for MongoDB, I'm just mentioning here. This is, let's say, for MongoDB authentication. Okay, I'll be telling you about Passport. Okay, cool. Let's say if you want to work about on MongoDB, right? So what I'll do, I'll write MongoDB, right? MongoDB.com, right? So this will help you out with the database related stuff, then how to go with the resources, products, and starting for free, right? So you can start learning about databases, charts, like, so it provides you lots and lots of things, right? So you'll be working on with MongoDB, if provided you are working on a non-relational database. So the documentation is mongodb.com, right? And of course for MySQL, if I go on MySQL, right? So again, the official documentation is mysql.com, but again, this documentation is right there. uh, but I feel that once you are doing any of the database, right, the more you practice, the more you like make it a hit and try in the sense, you know, about five concepts. Just try to merge them, try to join them, try to use them in different ways. Then only you'll be, full-fledged enough to understand databases, because databases are very easy to understand, very easy. And sometimes people like have some fear in their heart that, okay, I know about one database, I don't want to switch. That is not the scenario, and that should not be the scenario in your case. You should be flexible to work with any of the database. So rather than mugging up things, you are a developer, uh, provided you will learn all these things. So there's no need to learn anything. You have to just refer documentation, and you should know how you have to use them, and simply make the projects. So official is mysql.com. Again, after that, let's say authentication. One thing I want to show you for all these things is Passport. Passport JS, not Passport India, Passport JS. I should write Passport JS, right? Passport.js, like the authentication part, the cookies part, the session part, everything which I mentioned about, right? So that will be understanding using, you can see the username, password, sign in with Google, sign in with Facebook, username, password, and an authentication, right? Concepts like, if I click on authentication, right? So it'll be giving me different strategies, my middlewares, my sessions. I told about sessions there, right? Yeah, sessions there, right? So everything is being covered in a systematic way. Auth IDs. I know you guys don't know about auth IDs right now, but soon you'll know. The more you will work on it, soon you will know, right? So Passport will help you out for this authentication as well. And for Socket, I personally think there's Socket.io, right? Socket.io. You can refer this Socket.io documentation, and it'll make you understand with the, let's say, diagrammatical way, that how will client react when a server, how will server react when a client gives some response, gives some request, and how will the response be sent using this server, right? So different, let's say, GitHub files, how you'll be interacting with all APIs and everything, right? Everything, how you'll be making connections, how you'll be making what is JSON, JSON.parse.data, right? Everything, it'll make you understand using this socket.io, right? Socket.io. I'm telling all the documentation which are official, which people follow, like those who have made this socket. Like there are some, let's say, huge brain people, those who are, let's say, like the scientists and all, right? the big people, the big developers, right? They have made it and they've all converted in the form of docs so that you can understand what is the logic and how to use all these things, right? These are official documentations, right? Then socket.io. And of course, there is no documentation for projects. This is your own brain. You have to make your own, you have to use your own brain to do all these things, right? You have to spend some time. You have to understand all the concepts and start doing integrating things, learning and unlearning at the same time, right? And of course after that, AWS. If you want to know about AWS, everybody knows about AWS, but again, Amazon Web Services official site. So what you need to do here is simply sign up. You need a credit card. Let's say that won't be charging you until unless you make use of it like in a beast way. Don't use that. If you have a personal credit card number there, don't use it. But if it is of company, then you're free to do anything. It gives you free trials as well. It gives you some amount. So what you need to do is you create an instance, you create some buckets, right? You just out of large amount of space which is present, you ask for small space where your web application, your application will be stored, and it has to be in a secured way, right? So all these things you will be understanding using this AWS, and of course you can go with the documentation here as well. How will you make the schemas, or not the schema here, sorry, how will you make the buckets, how will you make the instances, right? It'll help you out with how will be working with the pipelines, right? Information exchange, everything. So it'll systematically help you out with it, right? So of course aws.amazon.com is something which one should follow for official. And for Git and GitHub, simply GitHub, or let's say Git. If I'll go with Git, right? So get.scm.com, right? Get slash not dot, sorry, get slash scm.com. It will help you out with the Git part, right? Documentation. You can refer the official documentations from here. I use this word version control. Don't be confused. It is same as look, Git is the version control, right? So don't worry about it. Don't confuse yourself with big terminologies. Just understand it's a tool. It's a tool that will help you out while working with different people, while working with let's say different versions of your projects, right? So it is very simple, not a difficult task, but important to learn. And of course, for GitHub, I'll simply open GitHub, and oh, this opened up my GitHub. No worries. So this is basically GitHub. You can like search for any of the project. Let's say I can see for the React, right? I can search and all the React, like React is also an open source, right? So I can see the repository of React. The repository, the code is there, commits, and every information will be shown to me. And if I want to, let's say, keep my codes secure, I want to, let's say, if I taught you something, I'll just penning it down and I'm just, let's say, coding alongside. I want to use it after 15 days, and I want to store it. I don't have space in my laptop, right? What will I do? I'll simply push it to GitHub. I'll simply push it to GitHub. I'll make one of the repository, right? I'll make one of the repository and like simply push it into GitHub so that it can store in a cloud for me for a longer amount of time, right? Are we clear on this? Like, are we clear on the documentation part? Is anything left for the documentation? Important thing for documentation? I guess no. We are good. We are good with the documentation part. Yeah. Uh, okay. Okay. I've seen some questions. Wait. Sir, if possible, can you elaborate on Git and GitHub? Okay. So I just ended with Git and GitHub. So do I need to elaborate it more? Shivy, if I'm pronouncing it right. Sorry. Do I need to tell something more about? Okay, I really liked yesterday's session. Cool. Amazing session, sir. Okay, wait. I'm in first year and I really get to learn a lot from these sessions. Arey, that is pretty good, yeah. I don't know your name, but of course, if you work like you're a beginner, let's assume you're a beginner, and you really want to learn something. So, what will you do? You will go to YouTube and you'll start learning. No, this is something which I feel is personally wrong. You should have a path, you should have a vision, or you should at least talk to the person who has already priorly worked on it, so that the challenges, let's say the perks and the negative, the downfalls, you should be mentally prepared for it. You should know, okay, huh, yeah, someone has already worked on it, and I guess I can do it, and I guess this is my cup of tea. So how will you decide that is it your cup of tea or not? Talk to people, attend sessions, I won't say all the sessions, but the maximum according to your personal private like choices and all, right? So the sessions are definitely important, provided it is of your domain, it is of your interest, right? So yeah, all clear, sir. Great, Chevy, great. Any questions regarding this documentation as well as for roadmaps, right? Any documentation or roadmaps questions left? Any questions on this? Waiting for 1 minute, right? Waiting for 1 minute so that if anybody is typing or wants. Um, Challenging project. See, I can show you that because this is that is somewhere I work on in startup as well, right? Okay, so I'll tell you. You'll really love it. That is a very good concept. Oh, very nice question. I didn't remember your name, but it's okay. I'll just explain you about the project. Okay, so so have you worked on Google Maps? Not worked. Sorry. Have you used Google Maps? Really sorry. Really sorry. Google Maps. Google Maps. What it does, let me just explain you a scenario. This is your starting point, and let's say this is your destination. Uh, the roads, let's say, somewhat like this, and let's say a path is again like there. We have different paths, right? We have different paths for one. Uh, okay, so I've made a diagrammatic. I've made a diagrammatical representation, right? I've made a diagrammatical representation. This is my path one. This is my path two, and this is my path three, right? So right now in the scenario, I'm assuming the path one is costing me 20 minutes. Is costing me 20 minutes, of course, okay. 20 minutes. I don't I'm not concerned about the fuel. I'm not concerned about the, let's say, any other aspect, right? Just 20 minutes time for right now, and this is consisting me or consuming my 18 minutes, and let it be just 18 minutes, and this is consuming my 15 minutes. So what Google Map does is it checks for different paths. It checks all the possible paths which are there, depending on your vehicle, of course, depending on your vehicle, depending on your vehicle, not like this is definitely a very good aspect. I'm not considering that right now. So according to path 1, path 2 and path 3, 15 minutes is the most optimized one, right? And this is the path which is being shown over your Google Maps, right? This is the path everyone like sees in Google Maps, right? Understanding this part. Are we clear till this? Like whatever I told you, are we clear till this? This is practically we all have used, right? We all have used Google Maps. We knows about what it gives us, right? Array, at least give me a yes or no.
Guys, let's keep this session as interactive as possible, guys.
Hmm. Are we clear on this? Array, just let me know. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, anything. I'm waiting, waiting, waiting. Be fast now. इतना समझ आया जो मैंने भी बोला regarding this Google Maps. Okay, yes, yes, cool, cool. अब ये Google Maps is for road, right? You're having a journey of road. What we as a startup are doing is we are making Google Maps for water, and by water I mean for ships. For ships. Now you'll laugh on me कि यार पानी तो है, like simply ले चलो, displacement ले चलो. Let's say if this is the starting point and this is the ending point, हो गया, पानी तो है, there is no obstruction. No, a big no. This is not same as that of what you guys think. What all other challenges with which come with us is humidity, the icebergs, thunderstorms, thunderstorms, right? Wind, the speed of wind, temperature, right? These I'm just talking these in a very nutshell. Okay, these are the aspects which hamper the journey, which hampers the journey. Not every time the shortest path is the best path. It is like, let's say, a myth. Let's assume a very very small example, like we are making it practical, so just giving you some practical implementation as well. The ship is of, let's say, 10,000 crores, like let's say 1 lakh crores, practically possible. These are like marine ships, and they carry huge and huge amount of cargoes with them, right? What if one iceberg encounters the bottom of the ship? One iceberg, let's say this is my ship, and one iceberg is there, and it hits the ship, and the ship gets destroyed. This loss plus the, let's say, um, the cargo which is over the ship, this is the total amount of loss that will be facing, and time as well as for life loss, right? Life loss. People must be there, the sailors, the helpers, and everyone for that matter. So this is not as, let's say, easy as we feel, or as easy as we like, let's say, assume. But yeah, the factors are different. So again, the journey and the challenges are different. So this is, let's say, the most important, and let's say the most challenging project till now in my life. Rest are easy, let's say working for some freelance, working for some let's say government, making a secured line. That is something which is doable. That is doable. This is something which, you have to have the guts to, take the project and keep on working. Like, we are working on it since 1.7 years now, 1.7 years. So it'll still take time, but yeah, I really love it. So just sharing it. Yeah, I hope so. This is clear, Bhumi. I hope so. Right. Any more questions from anyone? Any more questions? I'll be then switching to the interview part, right? What all things you should work on while preparing for interviews, especially for dev, right? Any more questions from the things which I've covered till now? Any more questions? Anyone? Okay, I'm having a feeling that if nobody's replying, so okay, clear, sir. If everybody is comfortable, then I'll be switching to the important topics, which are really important from the point of view of interview. Important for interview. Okay. The first and the foremost important thing is JS. Without JS, you are not a developer. Sorry to say this, without JS, you're not a developer, right? So JS may, if I say the important topic, what is hoisting? What is hoisting? They definitely ask about hoisting, not hosting. It's hoisting, and what are higher order functions, right? Just telling you some of the important questions which they definitely ask for. Higher order functions, different type of functions. Like, there are 6 7 different types of functions. What is a promise? This is very important and very, most commonly asked interview question. What is a promise, right? And I think I should make it this way, right? I should make it this way. Okay. Hosting is there, higher order is there, closure, of course, closure, scope. Scopes are also very important, and let's say callback hell. This will make your life definitely hell. This topic is very important. And async await. I'm just telling you the important topics which are generally asked. So don't feel that okay, I don't know anything. It is okay. You're just preparing. You're just creating a mindset that okay, these are the questions which are being asked. So when I'll be learning JS, so I'll be focusing more on these topics. You don't have to feel ashamed or feel, let's say, scared about these things. No, always there's always day one. Day one has to be there. Else you can never land to day 100. If you'll never start, then you can never land to day 100, right? So it is always day one when you will start. So of course, I'm just skimming out some important topics so that you can focus a bit more on all these things. um, um, okay, do I know about, okay, yeah, event bubbling, and very important, how JS works, how JavaScript works behind the scenes. Behind the scene, BTS is behind the scene, okay? BTS, not that pop up. I don't know what they are, pop culture or whatever they are, but it was okay. I don't follow them. Sorry. So this BTS is behind the scenes, how this JS works, And I guess yeah, we are good to like let's say land uh, an interview when I'm asked questions from JS and React, of course. I won't say the important topics for React. React is entirely important. So few things which I will help you with is you should know about templates. You should know about props. Okay. You should know about use refs. You should know about. I should have written use states, but it is okay. You should know how to make your custom hooks. Right. You should know how to make your custom hooks. And okay, so these basic are I guess enough. Not enough. These are good to start with your React interview prep. So slowly and gradually, the more you'll give the interviews, the better understanding you'll be having for this particular topic. And then if I go on with let's say mm, Ajax and APIs, right? Ajax and APIs are very important. This itself is let's say a single topic which consists of lots and lots of information, right? How to work with fetch, how to work with XML HTTP request, XML HTTP request, and how to let's say work with your Axios, how to work with jQuery, right? All these things do come under this Ajax and APIs, right? So you work with all these, let's say, libraries and third-party things, right? So Ajax and APIs are also very important for interview aspect, and nobody will ask you about authentication on the. They'll simply ask you about the techniques, right? So this session, cookies, and authentication. Nobody asks you a question on it. They just simply ask you the techniques. They simply ask you the technique you followed, right? Technique you followed, and for databases, of course, they'll ask you how to create a schema, right? What is a schema? Create a schema. What is a model? And what is a document? What is a collection? Document collection. What is primary key? Primary key? What is foreign key? What are joins? Right. I'm considering both the databases together. Right. This is something for like let's say our SQL database. This is something for our NoSQL database, which is which we have like mentioned above, right? So you should know about these small topics, right? And work how to work with it, right? They are tables, so that won't be a big issue if you learn any of the database. And joins, unions, you can write any. Oh, my writing is getting worse. No worries. Uh, Unions, right? Join, union, and all. And after that, I think um, nobody will ask you questions on Git and GitHub. They'll never ask. Like I've never given a or taken an interview where Git and GitHub is asked. Socket is also not asked. You should know the implementation of socket, implementation of session authentication. Did I have DS have told about? They might ask you about file system. Okay, in Node.js, right? In Node, try to know about file system, right? File system, current working directories, directory names, right? These are something which file system which they might ask questions from. Like if they have 5-7 extra minutes and they want to dive a bit deep, or they want to uh, get the check your mindset. Do you really know all the concepts? So they might ask you about these things as well. And mm, just a moment. Not much questions from Express. Canvas is also something which you know how to implement. And if I talk about CSS, like if I talk about CSS, there are very less chances, but yeah, possibly as well. You should know about flex boxes. You should know about box model. You should know about grids. GR. This is my R. Grids. And you should know about, let's say, flex boxes are important. Box model is important. Grids are important. And let's say what all things are important. Somewhat units, you should know about units as well, because this is practically used, so you should know about units. And colors are not that important. Styling part, background. No, just let's say you should know about the frameworks. The frameworks are more important, but uh, if you're specifically working for some, let's say, front end company, front end engineering, if the test is for front end developer, then there is a possibility they might ask you some of the concepts like Z index is also there. Very small concept, but they might ask Z index. Very small concepts, not a, let's say, a major. All these concepts can be easily learned in a max of 10 days, right? If provided you are in the right guidance or with the right journey. So 10 days is, I guess, 10 to 15 days. It is enough to learn these things, right? And by learning, I mean you can never learn all the things. It is by the time you get old of 70s 80s, right, till that time also you can never learn all the things. By learning, I mean you should be confident enough to work with the stuff. You should be confident enough to know about the basic things, and googling and simply knowing how will it be used and simply implementing it over your usage, right? Again, showing you from the top to bottom, right? JS important questions for interviews, working on then React, basic React. I would say React is very important if you're working for a, let's say, giving a front end interview. So you should know it entirely, but just for the reference. Ajax and APIs, these are the techniques by which we can make them happen. So you should know about these techniques. And technique you followed by this, I meant about session. I meant about session authentication, and let's say for authentication, and let's say for my socket, right? You should know about their implementation, but nobody will ask you to show them, okay, how will you do it, like show me this. No, nobody will ask you. And of course DB's questions will definitely be asked uh, if they are like looking forward for someone who is will be working with, let's say, databases. So DB questions will be asked. This is important. Like everything is important, but yeah, this is also important. Don't skip it. From Node, I won't say this is important. This is okayish from Node. If you want to, like, let's say, go through some topics, go through these topics. Very short and good knowledge you should know about them. Like, let's say it's a important concept, but not difficult one, right? CSS easy. Every concept of CSS is easy. If you will use it once or twice in your life, you will be definitely remembering for the future as well, right? So these are the some important topics for Node and CSS. And last, okay. I'll see the questions first. Can you discuss any particular challenge? Okay, so this I've answered before. Yes, clear. Okay, so are we clear with all the things? Are we clear with all the things? Are we clear with all the things? Can you guys please acknowledge me? Are we clear with things? Just give me a yes or no or any acknowledgement from your side so that I can know. Okay, yes, things were well, right? Okay, Chevy Bhumi, right? Great. Okay. Anyone wants to ask anything, or was I clear enough that सबको एक बारी में ही समझ आ गया सब कुछ? Kashish, okay, great. Dipali, great. Okay, so any questions, or was it like good enough कि तुम्हें एक बारी में ही सब समझ आ गया and things are going pretty well? Yes, बढ़िया, मान्य, good.
Guys, we are free food to any queries. Just drop it down on the text.
Right. You were clear enough. Okay, great. Thank you, Dipali. You were clear enough. Right, I'll be waiting for next 2 minutes. If anybody wants to ask anything, he or she is free to ask anything, except for any personal questions, right? Except for that. Okay, cool. So I am personally having a feeling that okay, if nobody's asking, and I don't know about the numbers, but if you guys are here, then definitely you were able to understand that yes, what all should be the pathway, what all should be, let's say, the resources from where you can learn, and what should be the right guidance or which topics you should give importance on, right? Including this projects, including hosting here, not hosting, and how to practically approach people, like make a project, deploy it, and approach people, show them your work, and like upload it over the LinkedIn that I've done this, learned this, and all, right? These are important. Baki, I feel that if anybody wants to ask anything or needs anything to share, he or she is free, right? Okay. So I feel that most of you are convinced enough, right? Right, Anchit? Are you having the same feeling?
Yes, sir, it seems so.
Yeah. So
So that was it for the topics that need to be covered for your placement preparations. If everyone is clear with what Sir just said, we will now move on to the topic exactly. What is it that companies look into in any web developer, especially among the freshers, as they are unaware what exactly should be their motive of pursuing this domain, sir? Would you please enlighten us on that?
sure, definitely. Okay. So being a very practical person right now, companies don't want a geek. They don't want a person who knows everything. No, that's not the reality. They want a person who is willing to learn, who has actually worked on things, or who is trying to work on things and learning. Not eventually I thought those person who have just simply landed just into development and wants a good job. No, of course not. Competition is there, definitely there, but they want a smart person rather than someone who's just coding 24 hours. They don't want them because things will come and go. Say new technologies will come. You have to adapt yourself. You should know how to enter a change. You should know how to work with different people, right? So single-handedly, none of the project can be handled. None of the product can be handled. The companies know it pretty well. The managers know it pretty well. Everyone knows it pretty well, right? So you have to be smart enough. You have to be creative enough. You have to be, let's say, skilled enough. Like you should be in a proportion of all the three aspects in order to land a good job. Academics are very important, and at the same time your teamwork, your basic skills, your discipline, your ethics are also very important at the same time, right? And as I just told you about the most important interview questions, if you see it here, they are the most asked interview questions, and this will definitely vary from let's say company to company, let's say requirement to requirement. This will definitely vary, but these are something which you should know in order to start your journey as a developer, as a fresher, or let's say as a 1 or 2 year experienced person, right? So these should be inside you. You should inculcate all these things. Again, telling you, companies are very sorted, they are very clear. They want smart people. They don't want a noob, or they don't want a geek. They want a good person who can balance life, balance codes, and people around those who are sitting behind the, let's say, screens and writing codes, right? And nobody is your envy, right? Nobody is your enemy there. They, if they're having an interview, right, behind the scenes, they were also in the same position on which you are right now. So you should always be, let's say, loyal. You should always be truthful. A pinch of, like, let's say, uh, manipulation you can do, a pinch, not more, but yeah, you should be loyal with the person who is there, because ultimately he's there to help you out. He's there to help you out. He'll definitely hire you, provided if he sees the fire in you, if she sees the, let's say, ignite the fire, the skills inside you. Not entirely 100% skills. If it matches 50%, right, I'm telling you scenario, if it matches 50%, then also you get hired many a times, right? So you have to be loyal and you have to work hard. I'm assuming those who are in third year right now, they should keep on working on projects and make their DSS strong, right? And those are in the first and second year. Start exploring. Make mistakes. Making mistake is important. So make mistakes. That is important, right? So I guess this is what I need to share regarding the interviews also in this.
Thank you so much, sir. Is there anyone who wants to add on to it? If there's any query from their personal side, please you can feel free to drop it down on the chat.
I'm having a feeling all these are quite smart and, you know, uh, clever enough. They just understand in just one go, right? Cool. That is pretty good. That is pretty good.
Okay, so
Okay,
if
so
that is the case, then so I hope then this workshop was a productive and engaging experience for all of you guys. Once again, I request you, if you have any queries, please feel free to ask it, guys.
Okay, so I feel that everybody is comfortable in their places, right? So yeah, you are clear. Okay, great, great. Right.
All right.
So I
So
guess,
I guess we can,
Anshit, we are good
yeah, we
to
can
end this session.
successfully conclude this session.
Yeah, great, great.
Okay. All right, guys. So with that, we would be concluding this workshop. Thank you so much for interacting us with us and joining us on this workshop. I encourage you to make the most of this opportunity and to learn and connect. Like we said, website without visitors is like a ship lost in the horizon. And so with today's learning, we will learn how to sail a ship back to the ocean. I'm sure there was something that each one of us are taking back today after this workshop. Thank you once again so much for joining us here.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I'll be taking a leave now. Yeah. So all the best to everyone for your developer journey or the upcoming placements and everything. Would definitely love to connect to you guys in the coming future as well, right? So thank you so much. You were really sweet. Thank you, person. Thank you, Manya. Thank you, Ravinder. Thank you, everyone. We'll definitely be meeting soon. So till then, all the best and study well, right? Code hard, right? Okay. So thank you. Bye, bye,
Thank you, sir.
guys. See you. Thank you. Thank you, Anshit. Thank you so much.